guys, if you follow me or my car, you'll see a lot of us on the Cosworth Drivers Club. You'll see a lot of activity of me and my pals on there with them. I haven't done much on YouTube lately, but I did promise everyone I was going to do a bit of a feature on tuning these cars. So I've got both cars behind us now, both running exactly the same setup more or less. I'm just going to tell you a bit about what we've done to them and what power they're running, how we got that power out of them, and roughly what that cost to get that power out of them. So firstly, both the cars behind us were pretty standard when we bought them. I think I've had mine about 5 or 6 years now. I think the owner of the magenta one, he's had his about 3 years now. And they've both had our life savings chucked at the bastards. But look, it's part of the fun, it's what we do. So, the silver one. When I first bought mine, it was classed as a stage 3 conversion. Now, stage 3, if you're not familiar with Cosworths, is a set of green injectors, a 3-bar map sensor, and a chip which will increase your boost to around about 21, 23 PSI there or thereabouts. And it was always well known that that was roughly 330 brake horsepower. And that's roughly what the car would have been when I got it. On today's dynos, realistically, probably closer to the 300 mark, if we're honest. I think years ago when these were out, 330 was probably just, it was sort of pub numbers you would talk. They were roughly about 300. So it was good, it was fun, it was actually very reliable with 300 horsepower. As with anything, you sometimes want a little bit more. So from there, I put a bigger turbo on. I put a T34 turbo on. And I put Siemens 55-pound injectors on the car. I got another map done from Stu at MSD. He done his sort of off-the-shelf chip, which you just plug in on these. It's pretty easy. We put that in, and the car was running 26 PSI of boost, give or take. And on the dyno, it ran 350 odd horsepower. That was a GM import. I've got the video footage there. I think it was 351 or 356. Can't remember. But it was quick, and it was enough to blow gearboxes, sadly. So we've done that. That lasted for a little bit. However, the owner of the magenta one behind, he was busy doing an engine build, or 2 or 3. I had a few engines, so we've got some more of them. And when he was building his engine, he contacted Turbo Technics and bought a T36 turbo. I hadn't heard of one of these. So he got a T36. He put that on, and the injectors he used, I think, if I remember rightly, they were 72-pound injectors that he put on there. And he got a off-the-shelf map again done from Stuart MSD. We'll plug that in, and the car ran 416 brake horsepower. But what was really shocking, it had all this extra boost, all this extra go, but it had even less lag than what a normal T3 turbo would have. Now, if you know Cosworths, you'll know they're quite laggy. So this amazing bit of kit, it got rid of a majority of turbo lag. It boosted like you wouldn't believe. And my car couldn't get near the thing. It was really quick. 416 brake, it was fantastic. That lasted for a while. And I ended up putting a new engine in mine. You might have seen a previous video, puts a new engine in, gets it long studded, just gets everything prepped, forged rods, you name it. I wanted the thing to be as bulletproof as it can be. Done all of that, and we got, I got a T36 turbo, same as Adam's, got that put on. I got Siemens 82-pound injectors put in there, and I also went with e-boost controller, which I wasn't very familiar with these, but I put this e-boost controller on, which gets rid of your AML valve, and it runs off a 3-port boost solenoid, so you lose a lot of that. You don't get as much boost leak. It holds its boost a lot better. This is what I was told, so I thought I'll give that a go as well. So plums that in, and gets an off-the-shelf chip, pops it in, and it was a little bit lumpy. Something wasn't 100% with it. Nothing to do with the chip, but it was just, I'd done that many changes on the car. This car needed to go to a professional, and I genuinely didn't know where to take it. I've been to engine tuners before. Usually when I'm eating engine tuner, and if you are one, please don't take offence, but usually they're very miserable, they don't like to speak, and unless it's their idea, they're not really interested. They want to do what they want to do to your car. So I've never been a huge fan. I've never jumped with joy and never getting excited to go and take my car to one. And I also hate leaving my Cosworth anywhere. However, when you live in the northeast of England, there's not a lot of places you can take your car to. They're all miles away. So I had a look round, and I begged and pleaded with Stu at MSD for him to do it because he'd done the initial chip, but Stu no longer does roll and road setups. He doesn't tune them. The guy who used to do that for him has moved on to other things, and Stu's just not comfortable doing them by himself. I get it, and it was Stu that said, look, why don't you go to mass tuning? I hadn't even heard of mass tuning at the time, but the fact that one tuner was recommending him, I thought, well, this is new. I'll give him a go. So I rang him up. I had a chat with him. More than keen to talk on the phone. He was brilliant to deal with from the get-go. And I agreed, look, okay, let's get the car down to you. And I sent my car. And I also sent my pal Wayne. His Escort went down as well. His small turbo Escort went down for a stage 1 tune. Put them both on the back of the truck. Sent them down to someone I'd never met before. He filled us with confidence. I'm not even going to say I was nervous. I felt it was in good hands. Gets the car down, and he straight away got into it. And there's some sensor issues. There's just a couple of bits and pieces. And within no time, I had a video of my car running as sweet as a nut. It was running fast. Great. However, we couldn't map it. There's 2 weeks every year Stu likes to go on holiday from MSD. Now, the agreement is Stu will write the chip, and it is Stu's chip, and he will work with Mike at MAS Tuning and write them what he will put on what Mike tells him to put on when he's tuning using his chips. You might have seen on social media, certain people are saying you can't tweak MSD chips, they're locked, etc., etc. Well, the truth of it is, Stu allows certain individuals that he trusts to actually amend his chips, but Stu has to do it for them. So Stu was away on holiday, so my car was stuck for 2 weeks, and eventually when he came back, he done everything Mike had asked him to do, rewrote the chip, puts the new chip in, and Mike rang us. And Mike at MAS, he says, Dan, this T36 turbo is amazing. He says, brilliant. He said that the boost controller, the turbo, he said it's absolutely incredible. Which, again, that was new to me because usually an engine tuner is going to say, I'm not touching that, I don't know enough about it, I don't like them, whatever it is, I'm only working with a T34, or I'm only putting a T4 on. Costs more and more money, but like Mike was really open-minded. He went, oh, we'll give it a try, we'll see what we can do with it. And he couldn't believe it. So he took it out, done a few test runs with it. He doesn't put them on rolling roads. He tunes these cars on the road, which I like. You're getting the correct airflow into the car, real life situation. Perfect. I was over the moon with that. And he rang, he says, Dan, I don't know what power this is running. I'll tell you now it's a solid 400. I just I get a feeling it's a solid 400. And some, he said, it's quick. I went, right. I'm over the moon with that. If you're confident, I'm confident. I couldn't be happier. So he told us the car was going to be ready, and I thought I'd push me luck. And I says, look, me pal's got the same car. It's the same setup, and he got an off-the-shelf chip from MSD. I said, would you mind if we come down? Can you do it in 1 day? And he was a bit reluctant. He said, look, things can go wrong. I don't want you stuck here. I don't want you stuck around the workshop all day. He says, I don't like doing it. And he paused and he went, you know what? Let's give it a go. I was over the moon. So I rang the owner of that, and we agreed we're going to go down early on the morning. So I get picked up about 5 o'clock in the morning, and we sets off from Newcastle to Crewe. Gets down to crew, pulls in, and I mean, we were blown away with the cars and that were in there. You could see it was, the guy knew what he was doing. He had an engine room. There was the Smith and Jones blocks in there. There was all sorts going on. I've got video footage there, which I'll put in now. Just the whole setup was incredible. The cars he had parked around there were unbelievable. There was 3 doors. There was Escort Cosworth race cars. It was just everything. It was incredible. So anyway, we plugged the Magenta one in, plugged it into the system, done all the checks first, and it turns out there was a couple of sensors off. He had a faulty map sensor, which we'd have never known, right? We just wanted to go and get a tweet. We'd have never known, but it had a faulty map sensor. It had a faulty air intake sensor. Swapped them round, took it out, done some test runs, and then we got the chip amended by Stu. Stu done this remotely, sent it over to Mike. He copied it onto the chip, plugs it in, and this car, it was night and day. It's the only way to describe it. The difference from a live setup as opposed to an off the shelf is just incredible. It felt better. It pulled stronger, nicer. It even changed the noise of the engine. It's hard to explain, but if you're into tuning your cars, you'll get it. So, got the pair of them set up. Both pretty much the same setup with different exhaust housings. That's the only difference. The owner of the Magenta one tried cheating, putting a bigger exhaust housing on without informing me, but never mind. And we thought there's only one way to check these cars. We'll take them down the bypass next to Mike's. So me and Mike got my car, and 2 guys got in the Magenta one, and we took them up and down the road. And these cars are just neck and neck. There's nothing between them. Unbelievable. So finished doing what we're doing, gets in the cars and drives 200 miles back to where we live, faultless, gets there, no issues whatsoever, no hiccups, nothing. The cars never drove as nice ever. It was unbelievable. We gets them back. We put a post up telling people that, you know, I've had the car tuned, I've had it set up, told them about the setup, and there's a lot of people who were guessing the numbers. A couple of people were very, very close. We took both the cars to the same rolling road. We used Evo Tune. Thanks Jamie Lumley for doing the rolling road test on them. Took mine on one day, and Adam took his on the second day. So it was both done similar times, same rolling road, so it was completely fair. And even Jamie, when he'd ran them, said the setups look fantastic, the graphs look amazing. Both these cars were running over 440 brake horsepower. Mine ran 442, and Adam's ran 445. It's like they're very, very close. The bigger exhaust housing did cause, it gave a little bit of increase in brake horsepower, but it did cost on the torque side. So although there was 3 extra horsepower, there was a difference of nearly 50 pounds-foot of torque from the smaller exhaust housing, believe it or not. So even though they've both got the same setup, they both still drive very differently. I don't have to rev mine as much. Adam revs his higher. But in the real world, these cars will just sit side by side. They're unbelievable. I've got the anti-lag put on. We've got launch control put on it. The whole works. So what did it all cost? That's one of a lot of people will always ask this. What did it cost to get a 224 horsepower car from 224 horsepower to over 440? You'd be surprised. So a genuine 3-bar map sensor, you'll pick one up now for about 250 quid. You can get an aftermarket brand new one for 85 and 90 quid, but people recommend against them. I run one of them in mine, but people recommend against them. The turbo, a T36 turbo, it works out at just over £1,100, brand new from Turbo Technics, complete with an actuator. Like, unbelievable value for money. Injectors, £82 injectors. Again, you'll get some used for say 250 quid, and then you've got to bank on paying 100 quid to get them ultrasonic cleaned and get them, make sure they're right. You've then the chip from MSD is going to be in the region 250 to 350, depending on what you want done. If you want your anti-lag and all the rest they're putting on, and this is excluding the cost of the engine. That was sickening, but you can run this setup essentially on a 200 blocked Sierra Cosworth. That's it. Simple as that. And what else was in there? The boost controller, the e-boost controller, was £400. You've got your front mounted, your big RS500 intercooler. Again, they're maybe 200-300 quid, not the end of the world. All this together, it's not a lot of money to pump nearly double the power through the car. And I spoke to someone at my work yesterday about this, and they said, but 400 horsepower is not really a lot of power nowadays. And you know what? They're right. You've got 400 horsepower in a Golf R, and they're pretty quick. I've got a Ford Fiesta with near enough 350 horsepower at home. You know, 400's not a lot. However, you see when you put 440 horsepower in something that weighs 1,200 kilograms, there's no safety in these cars whatsoever. You've got seats in the steering wheel, and you've probably got some questionable welding from over the years. Right? They've lost half the proper metal. 1,200 kilograms and 440 horsepower. I'll put that in perspective. I had a BMW M4 with 500 horsepower, and this thing would destroy it. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking, yeah, whatever. It would leave it. That's the difference. Unbelievable setup. So that's where we're at. So firstly, thanks to Mike. You'll see I'm wearing his hoodie. He actually sent us a hoodie as a thank you for going down. Thanks very much for Mike. 100% I will recommend Mike at MES Tuning to anybody looking to get setups done. I really will. His quality of work, just how welcoming he is, his knowledge. Honestly, I can't thank you enough, Mike, for what you've done for us. You really made us welcome. I've sent as many people as I can down to you already. I'm not sponsored by Mike. There's a free hoodie, but I'm not sponsored by Mike. It is just, it's hard to find good help, and Mike was that person. So any queries with Cosworth work, please don't hesitate. Give him a shout. He's brilliant. And that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you have a great new year, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you.